My name's Kevin. This is a 1966 Mustang that I bought from my longtime best buddy who'd gotten it in an estate situation, and the car was looking pretty good for a gift from an estate. But the fact is that I started cutting into it and it was more rotten than I could believe. And as I got further and further, I thought, this isn't going to work with just a Sawzall. So I went out and got a plasma cutter. And what I finished with is right here on the picture is the shell, basically, outer rockers. The only thing holding the front end together was the dashboard, which is steel in a Mustang. So basically, I cut it all apart and said to myself, now I got to get a welder and learn how to weld, because there's no way in hell I can afford to pay somebody to do this much work. So I did. Called a couple of buddies, how do you learn to weld? They said, well, you get two pieces of metal and you start welding them together, and when they hold together, you're on your way. And so that's probably, I don't know, hundreds of hours of trying to figure out how to make a piece of steel stick to another piece of steel. And even now, I can't call myself a welder. I always say to the machine, you're a better welder than I am. Bottom line is, all of the parts here are from manufacturer's TCI suspension. There's an outfit that really and truly puts together packages, but it comes in boxes that go through the shipping, so each piece is 1.5 feet long. The welding part is getting the firewall square, getting the subframe square, and then figuring out dimensionally where it needs to be when it's hanging from a hook. Because if it isn't right, nothing goes together. All the sheet metal is made to fit our original dimension vehicle, so that means you can't miss by more than 1/8 of an inch, which was factory tolerance. I spent an inordinate amount of time trying to get the shut lines as good as I could, just because I needed the practice. I didn't know how to weld when I started, so I figured the more I did, the better I'd get. I started the body work 3 times. I can fit metal, I can now weld metal, but painting is incredibly difficult by comparison. You cannot screw painting up without a willingness to go ahead and take it all off, which is why it took me 400 hours to paint this car, because I had 200 hours in when I had to take it all off. And as I say, when you take it all off, you pretty much have to start all over with the primer base. Anyway, the bottom line is that, I keep saying bottom line, the fact is that when I got done doing the scruffing and the final prep for the paint, I had created a paint booth with 3 dear friends who helped me turn a garage bay into a sealed unit with inducted air and outflow, positive outflow, all the ventilation gear, of course. But the point is that you basically have to just simply start spraying and figure that wet sanding will save your butt most of the time if you don't cut through the paint as you're wet sanding. And then however it looks when you're done wet sanding, it's going to look a whole lot better when you get the clear coat on. That's Southern Polyurethane products from start to finish. Great company, great people. Logan on the phone, Barry the owner. All the day and night, anytime you got a problem, you call him up, Barry's there and saying, Kev, what happened? I said, I don't know, Barry, there's bubbles. He goes, bubbles? What do you get, bubbles? You got to take it off. I said, I know I got to take it off, but why did they get there so I can stop putting them there the next time? Very helpful folks. I was mentored online, mentored on the phone. Their products are bulletproof, but they have to be dealt with the way they tell you, and that takes a lot of learning. I mean, it's just not natural for me anyway. The rear has a custom trunk because I could. Obviously the battery's in the back because it's not here. That means a piece of copper stranded wire that big runs from here to there. I put in 3-ways kind of shut off for security purposes and just because I could. Then I found out when I put in the wrong tumbler in the lock and couldn't get the trunk open, that there's no way I could start the car because the power is an on-off switch in the trunk. I have to address that, which I will do. There are electric trunk releases. Fortunately, I had put the trunk together so badly, not really so badly, but put the lock in such a way that a buddy who's a locksmith, dear John Barber, was able to get it sort of working, and then we could reef it open. Since then, I put in a better tumbler. I got it better aligned. Yesterday, last night, last thing I'll tell you, I'm putting the car together. Last time, I'm polishing it up. I close the lid. I go, perfect, not bad. Shut lines aren't perfect. I work on that. I say, okay, now I got to open the trunk. All right, open the hood. I go like that, and the hood is jammed shut. It will not open. And the reason it will not open is because yesterday I finished making this really cool expanded metal hot looking grill that I made myself. Big deal. Except what I didn't realize is that when Ford put the hood release there, they want it to travel full length in order to work. If it's impeded by a grill that extends below the fascia, the grill's not going, or the hood's not going to open. There is no way you're going to pull that pin out of that catch on any way in hell. Except the good news is the idiot boy here had left enough clearance to get in there with a pair of vice grips and slowly unthread the latch pin so that I could drop it out, open the hood, cut the grill. This is 9:30 last night. I'm thinking, I'm done. This car's trying to kill me. But it didn't. I got it. And I got here, and that's the story.